The Lifestyle Show, presented by Selena Mackenzie.
So, ADHD doesn't just affect individuals, it affects entire families. Well, in her book, Your Brain's Not Broken, Dr. Tamara Rosier applied her years of coaching others to explain how ADHD affects every single aspect of your life so that you can understand why you think, feel and act the way you do. She joins us now. Welcome to the show, Tamara.
Hi, it's great to be here.
Great to have you on with us. So first of all, for those that don't realise, what exactly is ADHD?
Well, ADHD is a neurological condition. Essentially, the brain operates differently. Those with ADHD don't have full access to their prefrontal cortex and reliable access. And the prefrontal cortex, that's just a handy modern part of life. That's where you plan, it's where you organize. And so those of us with ADHD, we just have different operating instructions in our brain. Our brains aren't broken, but they do operate very differently.
Now, you are an ADHD coach, but you mentioned the word we. So do you have ADHD?
I do, yes. And ADHD is very inherited. And so I have ADHD. I can trace my ADHD back several generations, just kind of through observation. And I have 2 children with ADHD.
Okay, well, this book, Your Brain's Not Broken workbook, it's full of practical tools. And in it, there is a Solve It grid. What's that?
Yeah, well, the Solve It grid it helps people understand their decisions. So it's a little complicated to discuss on the radio, but I'm going to make an attempt, okay? If you think of a 4-box, the horizontal line, for the ADHD brain, we judge things as fun or not fun. And those of you listening, if you're just thinking, oh yeah, I have to do this next task. And immediately, if you have ADHD, your brain's like, fun or not fun? Now, it's true. Those without ADHD can do it too. But for those of us with ADHD, that's just an immediate response. But then the vertical line that would dissect the 4-box is emotional intensity. And something you need to know about people with ADHD is a lot of times we prioritize based on emotional intensity. And so at the bottom of the line is not very emotional at all. I just don't really care about it. That would be unloading the dishwasher for me to, I intensely care about this. And so the Solve It grid builds from there. But it's a tool that I use to teach people on how to build on like their schedules, how to understand why am I stuck in this category where it's not fun and it has no emotional energy. Well, yeah, there's nothing for you to hold on to actually do the task.
So when you say there are 2 things you think about, fun or not fun, does that mean somebody with ADHD there would be no grey area? You only think black or white?
Oh, I wish I could answer this question differently. Oh, we are known for our black and white thinking. It's why I have a job as an ADHD coach. Yes, we tend to be all or nothing thinkers. And so when we're talking about emotional regulation, we tend to, if you imagined emotions on a scale, intensity on a scale of 1 to 10, my clients tend to be either at a 1, like low emotional intensity, or 9 or 10, high emotional intensity. And there's really not a lot of 4, 5, 6 energy for those of us with ADHD. We go big or we stay home with emotions. Whereas neurotypicals, those without ADHD, tend to have kind of a, I guess it's raining today. It's not that big of a deal. It's a bummer, but they're bummed at a level of 4, where I might be bummed at a level of 2 or a 1. So it's all about emotional intensity when you have ADHD.
Well, at least you know where you are. There's no wishy-washy.
Well, that is a great way to think about it. But my second book, You, Me, and Our ADHD Family, I get into writing about, well, that's kind of tough to live with sometimes, especially if ADHD runs in families and we're all having big emotions at different times, or we're having low emotions. So let's say my husband has a big emotion about something and I have low emotion. That's going to cause some weird kind of conflict. It doesn't have to, but in ADHD families, it frequently causes. So in that book, I actually talk about a pool metaphor for managing our intense emotions as families.
And for somebody who hasn't got ADHD in their family, can that bring other challenges?
I'm sorry, say that question again.
So for somebody, like you say, you've got ADHD in your family, which can cause challenges. If somebody has ADHD, but maybe their parents haven't, or their husband and their children haven't, does that sort of bring its own challenges into play?
Oh, right. So, you're saying like if one person has ADHD, but you're the only person that has ADHD in the family. Oh my goodness, is that a lonely experience?
I'm sure it is.
I see this a lot in the case of adoption. These two wonderful parents, they adopt this child, they shower this child with love, and the child grows up and the child just has a completely different brain than they do. And we use something that I kind of flippantly call ADHD logic. And so they say, hey, can you meet with my son? Like, we don't even understand, what is he doing? Why wouldn't he just learn from his mistakes? Those of us with ADHD tend to learn from mistakes differently than neurotypicals. And so a lot of times when you have the haves and have-nots in families, there's all this misunderstanding, like, why on earth would you do it that way? Now, it can occur the opposite way, too. Last week, I met with a lovely woman. She's lovely. But she's the only non-ADHD member of her family. Mm. And she came to me and for coaching, she's like, I'm hoping you can explain my people. Like, they're driving me crazy. Why won't they do this or this? And she really wanted to understand. She didn't want to throw them under the bus. She loves them dearly. But things that seem very self-evident to her just aren't self-evident to her ADHD people.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I should imagine there can be a lot of common miscommunication.
Yes, is there ever? In my second book, I have a whole chapter on that. We have like weird little communication quirks. By the way, I'm not really doing great PR for my people here. I just want to tell you, like, those of us with ADHD, it's not related to IQ. We can be very smart with IQ. It's just not related. So it's not like we're idiots running through the world. But we do have a different operating system. And that's really what I want to try to get across today. So sometimes I talk about it jokingly. And if there's an ADHD person out there hurting, I really don't want to add injury to them, because a lot of us have a lot of shame because we don't feel normal. And so I do want to be sensitive to that.
Yeah.
But back to the communication, we have a ton of quirks. And when I was, I'll never forget it, I was at the dining room table and I was working on the communication chapter. And it's all about communication quirks when you love someone with ADHD. And my husband came up to the table and he's like, hey, and he started to talk about something like dinner or something that evening. All of a sudden, he turns his head mid-conversation and just walks away. I'm like, that's odd. And I turned to my daughter who was there and I said, did you get a load of that? Did you see what he just did? How weird is he? And she said, Mom, you both do that. And here's what happened. Here's the rest of the story. What was happening in his brain? Those of us with ADHD, we have issues with short-term memory, and we have issues with working memory. So he's talking to me, and his brain said, "Oh, oops, I need to turn off the pool pump, and because I don't want it running all day." And so that thought overrode everything else in his brain. and he just turned and did it.
Yeah.
Now, if we didn't have a good relationship and he walked out mid-conversation, how might I feel, right? I could feel angry. I could feel like rejected. I could have all these feelings. Meanwhile, this guy's just trying to remember to turn off the pool pump. And I guess I do it too, but I can't confirm that at all. So
I'm with you. No, I think us chatting like this and books like yours are important because, I mean, I didn't even know. I guess I'm called neurotypical, am I? Is that what I will be known as?
Yes.
So neurotypical people are very ignorant to these things. You know, we've heard of autism, we've heard of ADHD. I'm aware that you describe it as being on the spectrum, I think, but we don't understand. And I think it's really, really important that we do.
You know, I love that approach because instead of saying, why can't you just be normal? Right? Just organize your school bag, just clean your room, just. I love when people who don't have ADHD see us and go, hey, you're trying. And your trying doesn't look like my trying because, you know, what the truth is, I have to work harder at executive functions. Executive functions are those things in the prefrontal cortex that are fairly easy for you, like managing a calendar. My husband and I had a good laugh this morning because our house is chaos this morning. And we have a guy coming over to fix a water heater. We just have all these things going on. And in the midst of it, he went to go work out and then he forgot his watch. He forgot this. He comes back. He goes, I don't have time to work out. And I looked at my calendar. I have a chiropractic appointment.
Oh, no.
And he's like, how could I mess this morning up more? And he and I were just laughing. And the reason we were laughing is this doesn't truly happen on a regular basis to those without ADHD. I guess, you know, you could say we have more fun because we keep ourselves guessing, but I think that's a reach. But anyway, so, you know, it's really hard for us to do the easy things in life. And what's funny, modern easy things like, you know, managing a calendar. And by the way, my husband's a very smart man. He's not dumb at all. Okay. So, but we feel dumb when we make these little tiny errors. And the other thing I want to also bring up, I don't bring this up in my either of my books, but this is part of the research that's really coming out now, is those of us with ADHD have not only different operating systems in our brain, we also have health issues that are predictable. And we need to understand that we have a different nervous system and we have to understand like how to work with that.
Again, I didn't realize that.
Oh, goodness. I just returned from the World Congress in Prague a couple weeks ago, and a lot of the research was on inflammation in ADHD, like asthma in ADHD. There's a correlation there. POTS and ADHD. A lot of just a lot of research is showing, hey, our brains are different. Guess what? Your body's different too. So maybe I'll eventually write a book. Your body's not broken. You know, it might feel like it.
Yeah, exactly. It can be a follow-on. Well, this particular book, Your Brain's Not Broken workbook, is a workbook with plenty of space to write out your ADHD story, guided prompts to help you work through problems, and visual summaries of key concepts. We're selling it right now on our website, tre.radio. Just once again, it's called Your Brain's Not Broken workbook, Strategies for Navigating Your Emotions and Life with ADHD. And it's by Tamara Rosier, PhD, who we're chatting to now. Tamara, for your other book and for this book and for anyone to find out more about you, do you have your own website?
Well, I have my author website, TamaraRosier.com. Yeah, it's that simple. I always want to make it harder, so I stutter every time I say it. And then I do lead the ADHD Center of West Michigan, www.miadhd.com. And that's where we have a whole bunch of coaches. We have therapists, but our therapists are only licensed in the state of Michigan. So if your listeners aren't in the state of Michigan, that's not going to be helpful for them. But we have a medication education coach. So we have a lot of support for those people who are looking to figure out their ADHD.
Well, I think it's marvellous that you're talking about it. You've written your books and you're running your centre. Tamara, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I really, really enjoy talking with you.
My pleasure. You have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.